Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Anwar White here. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so happy to see all of you here. As you can see, the title of the session is called Sleep Sanity: 5 Steps to Sleep Training Success. And I know you guys are probably used to other webinars where there's a lot of like getting to know you, intro, and all of that, but that's not me. I like to get right down to the nitty gritty. So I know that we're all like super busy parents here, and I just want to respect your time and mine. So I hope that you can forgive me and we can just get right to the good stuff. We can take care of all the other stuff at another time. We have about 30 minutes together. I want to just get rocking and rolling. How does that sound? Alrighty. So, who is this for? This is for moms with either newborns or infants who strive to be the best mom that they can be. So, if you want the absolute best for your child and want to set them up for future well-being and success, then this is for you. So in the next half an hour, I'm going to show you how to sleep train your baby in the next few weeks, even if it seems super ridiculous right now. I'm also going to show you how to cultivate a happy and thriving baby that you'll enjoy spending time with, where parenting feels like a joy all of the time and not just a job. I'm going to show you how to develop a peaceful and harmonious home while getting the rest you and your baby need and deserve to be your best selves. I'll show you how to feel secure and confident in your parenting because you're going to have a clear plan of what to do at every step of the way. I'm also going to show you how to do all of this without having your baby cry it out or needing to be picked up at every single whimper and any other kind of extreme ways to sleep train your child that just are not sustainable or realistic to the everyday mom. So my promise to you is that if you stay with me for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to deliver a step-by-step strategy to get you and your baby to absolute sleep heaven. So there's nothing for sale on this webinar, but if you stick with me until the very end, I'm going to give you my amazing guide for free called Sleep Training 101, Where Do I Really Get Started? Now, I created this guide because in working with hundreds of moms, the biggest issue they were having was how and when to actually get started. So when you first have a baby, the way that you comfort, stop the crying, help the baby get to sleep are actually not the ways you teach your baby independent sleeping. So this guide helps you make that transition from just pacifying your baby to guiding good independent sleeping habits and forming the pathway to sleeping through the night. And normally, this is only for my clients that are spending thousands of dollars to work with me. And if I do sell this, I sell it for about $297. But if you stick with me all the way through the end of the webinar, I'm going to give it to you for free. Yeah, you heard me. Free. So does this sound like you? Do you get mini heart attacks every night when you're awakened by your baby and wonder when your baby is just going to figure it all out and just sleep independently through the night already? Or do you wake up so mentally and emotionally and physically exhausted that you have no idea how you're going to make it through the day? Do you dread the first question that people ask you when you have a baby? How are you and the baby sleeping, they ask. Because you really, deep down inside, want to say, horribly. But you just don't want to seem like a complainer? Or do you see other moms with babies of a similar age looking fabulous and well-rested and you just have no idea how they're doing it? Maybe you love your baby to death. I mean, more than anything in this world. But when you hear those cries in the middle of the night, inside, you're just like, ugh, not again. Do you ever put your baby down for a nap thinking, you might have an hour or two to straighten up around the house or even take a shower, but your baby wakes up after 20 minutes and before you know it, you're back on baby duty? And most importantly, do you just want to give up because both you and your baby desperately need to get into a sleep groove, but you feel like there's no end in sight for these sleepless days and nights? You know what? If this is how you feel, I've got great news for you, because none of these things are the real problem. The real problem is that you haven't made the shifts. And I'm going to tell you what those are in just a second. Once you make those shifts, you'll be able to transition your baby from falling asleep needing to be swaddled, pacified, or even held to 12 hours of independent night sleeping. You'll have a predictable schedule where you'll carve out significant time for yourself and have complete control over how and when your child sleeps. Your every day will be much easier and more fun, because you'll have a happier and more cooperative baby who will thrive because he's getting the solid naps and night sleep that he needs. Once you make those shifts, that zombie mom feeling will disappear, and you'll feel like your well-rested self again, more energetic to be the best mom, the best spouse, the best friend, and really the best you can be. And you'll do all of this while tapping back into the joy of parenting you first had when your baby was born. The one thing you need to know, the one thing I want you to understand, is that there are 5 simple shifts you need to have your baby sleeping through the night quickly, with the least amount of crying possible, and that will give you the energy to thrive as a parent and not just survive. And I'm going to walk you through exactly how to make those shifts today. So listen, before we get into that, I just want to take 30 seconds to really quickly introduce myself so that you know who I am and that you know what the hell I'm talking about. So, like I said before, my name is Anwar White, and I am a dad of twins, Ravi and Zora, who you can see on the right-hand side. I'm also the founder of Smart Kid Parenting, where I've helped hundreds of moms from all over the world sleep train their children and maximize their children's potential. And these shifts I'm about to show you are the same shifts I used to sleep train my twins by 2.5 months, all by myself. I'm also a former consultant for Leapfrog Enterprises, which is the top educational and baby development toy brand in the world. And that's where I learned everything there is to know about baby brain development and the importance of sleep for its growth. I've also been heavily featured on the Huffington Post, Modern Mom, Mamapedia, The Today Show, Parenting, Mama Load, and many more. But you know what? Let me tell you a little bit about how I discovered these 5 shifts. So, like I already told you, I've gotten the chance to work with hundreds of moms from all over the world. And you know what's really interesting? Some of these moms had incredible breakthroughs where they went from no sleep to sleep-tastic in a matter of days. Some would get good results as well. In a matter of weeks, they had their baby sleeping through the night. And then some moms just didn't get any results. As I began to look at these people, and it wasn't just moms that I was working with, it was also moms that my colleagues were working with. As I observed all of these moms over the past few years, I got to notice that the top achievers, the moms that got the best results, did 5 very specific things. Just 5 things. It didn't matter if they had twins or triplets, or if they had no help from their husbands or boyfriends. It didn't matter if they had tried everything before, or quote unquote had a bad sleeper. The moms who succeeded were the moms that were doing these 5 things. And I believe that if you can do these 5 things, you'll be able to get your baby sleeping through the night beautifully, or for naps during the day. So there are 5 simple shifts you need to make to have your baby sleeping through the night quickly with the least amount of crying possible that will give you the energy to thrive as a parent and not just survive. And I'm going to walk you through all 5 of them on this session right now. So the first shift is that the baby adapts to the family, and not the other way around. Now, this is going to serve you well not just in sleep training, but later in your parenting journey as well. From eating, to potty training, to doing simple errands, to even family vacation. Although some change is necessary on the part of the family, a new baby should not dictate the when, the where, or the how of normal everyday family life. As simple and important as this concept is, it can be a difficult concept for moms to really accept. Babies are super adaptable, and they should be exposed to all facets of family life. And it starts now, even as young babies. Now, once you master this, everyday errands, vacation travel, even going out to eat will be a breeze. This means no acting out tantrums in the middle of Target for you. I want people to come up to you while you're out and about and compliment you on how well behaved your child is. This can only happen with real exposure to real situations that your baby experiences. And it is up to you to give your baby this exposure. So, for example, you want your baby to be able to sleep during nap time, even if the doorbell is ringing, even if the washing machine is going on, even if the family is having a really great time and just laughing out loud. Otherwise, what happens is that the family ends up living in a fearful and tense environment in which even breathing is frowned upon. I don't want you to be tiptoeing around your own house or changing the times that you eat, or even if you're debating whether to have company or over or not. That's just not worth it. It's just not how parenting and life should be. So if you want to succeed in sleep training, you cannot teach your baby in a noiseless, artificial environment. It just doesn't work. So how can you apply this in real life? Well, my suggestion is that you take your baby on afternoon walks after their lunch feeding. Not only will it be good for you to get out of the house and get moving a little bit, but your baby will also be exposed to a real environment with real noises and probably fall asleep within them because they just ate. This will help train them to be great sleepers, even in environments that are super noisy. So the second shift is for you to step fully into your parenting role. It's so important to say to yourself and truly embody, I am the parent and I am in charge. You are the baby. You follow my guidelines. Because without parental empowerment, an inexperienced and ill-equipped leader takes over. And that's the baby. If this happens, parents often blame and resent their baby for problems that arise, mostly because they feel helpless and not in control. I want you to take back your control. When this happens and the resentment starts to happen and this feeling of helplessness starts to happen, it just makes parenthood insufferable and takes a negative toll on the bonding between the baby and the mother. And at this time, the first 6 months or so, it is the most important time for bonding. So I just don't want that for you. Kids need guidelines. Even at this young age, I know it sounds crazy, but you are setting yourself up for success when you take full control of your parenting role. Otherwise, you are placing the weight and the burden of child rearing on your baby to try to figure everything out. And that's just not fair. Sleep will definitely suffer. Your sanity will definitely suffer. It's just not going to be a very good look. Another reason you don't want this is because, according to the National Institute of Health, this can have some serious consequences for your child, such as physical, emotional, and behavioral problems. And I just don't want that for you or your baby. Now, once you're empowered by the fact that you are the mom, you also need to realize that you cannot protect your baby from everything. Now, I know this is so hard to hear, but I have to be honest with you, and I have to tell the truth. Your job is to teach your child the skills he needs so that he can go out on his own and thrive. Your job is to get your child ready for the world. Because whatever you don't teach your child, life is going to teach your child. And sometimes life just isn't kind. And I think we all know that. Now, I know this might be a scary thing to hear, but just stick with me for a second. Once you understand this should give you the motivation to really take the parental reins and guide your child to where they need to go. With your help and guidance, there is nothing your child won't be able to overcome. His potential will be limitless, but only with your support and guidance. So guide away. So when you get this right, you'll be able to set a predictable daily schedule, which includes feeding and sleeping for your child. This will enable him to feel secure and loved because he will know what to expect at all times and not be surprised or freaked out by any kind of new or different situations. This confidence in knowing what to expect and what will happen will only create a happy and cooperative baby who just smiles all the time. It's kind of like when you're at a new job and you're anxious and you don't know what's going on or left from right. But after a while, you begin to do the same thing over and over again, and you master it. You've seen everything under the sun, and you can answer any question or resolve any issue. This actually makes your job enjoyable and fun. And it's the same for babies. And this is why babies thrive on schedules. So how can you apply this to your sleep training? Well, first, if you're feeding on demand and your baby is older than 6 weeks old, then you can let that go. Because what you do when your baby is a newborn is not going to get you to your sleep training goals. Your baby shouldn't dictate your schedule. You should, because you're the mom. Now at this point, what you want to do is feed or nurse every 3 hours. The schedule will look something like this: 7, 10, 1, 4, and 7. Or 8, 11, 2, 5, and 8. That should be a daily schedule for you. And when you institute this, make sure that you're consistent for at least 3 days because it takes about that amount of time for your baby to get used to a new habit. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Carla. She's a mom of twins who came to me a hot mess. Now, these are her words, not mine. Her twins were eating her alive. She had been up for like 72 straight hours, and it's because each twin was like getting up while the other one was going to bed, so she never had any like rest time. And her husband was always working, so it was just her. I gave her a very simple strategy to get both twins on the same schedule, and they were able to do so in a matter of days. Now, she could have listened to the quote unquote experts out there that say that you need to respect each child's natural rhythm and just, go with that. But she probably wouldn't have gotten any sleep for the next like 3 months or so. She empowered herself as a parent and stepped fully into her role and guided her children to where they needed to be. Now, her and her babies are getting a lot more rest, and she just cannot stop posting pictures on Facebook because she is back on her game. Again, those are her words, not mine, but I'm so happy for her and her babes. Now, the third shift is using the secret weapon. Mastering the art of sleep training using your head and your heart is the most powerful and effective way to get your child sleeping through the night. And it does all of this while providing love, structure, and security. Now, the old way of sleep training is either by crying it out or the no tears method. And maybe, just maybe, your baby will sleep through the night. This is what I call cross your finger sleep training. I just don't trust it, and you shouldn't either. Why, you may ask? Well, first, let's talk about the no tears approach. The idea is that being gentler and more responsive and continuing to soothe your child by patting or picking her up or holding her hand means she's going to be less traumatized. But ironically, the child still cries because all children protest change, and the way that they do this is by crying. The result is that the child often continues to struggle with sleep, usually for months on end, and it's because they're not allowed to really learn how to self-soothe. Now, on the other end of the spectrum are the cried out experts who believe that shutting the door and leaving your child completely alone and crying for as long as it takes for them to fall asleep is the best way to sleep train. Now, this method does work. I'll give it that. It takes a little bit longer, but it does work. But the idea of a child alone in the dark, crying inconsolably, just doesn't sit right with most parents, and it definitely doesn't sit right with me. It's just super hard on the parents and the child, and I just don't think it's necessary. The new way is the limited crying approach. I believe it offers an equal balance of opportunities for behavioral learning and loving support that doesn't interfere in the sleep learning. The limited crying approach helps children change their sleeping behavior and gives plenty of support while helping children feel loved and helping parents remain consistent as their child learns. According to scientific studies, the limited crying approach is associated with the following positive outcomes. Kids will be less likely to throw bedroom tantrums, more likely to settle down at night within 10 minutes, less likely to awaken their parents during the night, and parents report improvements in their own stress levels, mood, and interactions with their children. In addition to these positive results, parents have reported improvements in their children's daytime behavior because their children are getting much more sleep during the nighttime so that they can be their best selves during the day. Now, trust me, you'll thank me when you start to implement this, and especially when you hear the horror stories from other moms. And you'll really thank me when your child is like 2, 3, or even 4, because you're going to have no drama when you get your little one to bed. And you're going to have them sleeping throughout the night without interruption. So my client Mandy started out sleep training her son with the cry it out method. And what happened was that her heart just couldn't handle all the crying. Now she was crying just as much as her baby was, and just as hard as well. Then she tried to switch with the no tears approach, but quickly realized that 1, her son was still crying a lot, and 2, she just couldn't realistically sustain picking her child up every time he cried. It was just too much for her. So she shifted to a limited crying approach, and her 6-month-old was sleeping through the night in less than a week. As you can see, when you get this right, you set your child up for sleep training success and lay the foundation for independent sleep. The more your baby sleeps, the more your baby's brain grows, which means the smarter your baby becomes. Specifically with learning, concentrating, and self-control. All of the top qualities of the most intelligent kids. When you get this wrong, however, you can as much as double the amount of time it takes to sleep train by using multiple methods, trying to find out what works and what doesn't. All the while, you and your child are getting more and more frustrated, tired, and then you start to feel like a failure as a mom. All of this makes you a higher risk for depression and even marital conflict. Again, I don't want that for you. So far, we know that we must have the baby adapt to the family. We also need to step fully into our parental role. And we also need to use the secret weapon, which is the limited crying approach, to get our baby sleeping through the night. So now, let's look at how sleeping is a learned skill and how to teach it. Now, when you first have a baby, you're told to swaddle, to feed on demand, to pick up your baby when she cries, etc. But those things aren't going to serve you to get your baby sleeping through the night. We, as parents, have to teach our children, our babies, how to sleep, and independently as well. And that means abandoning the way we did things up until this point. The next shift is to understand how amazing babies truly are. They have limitless potential to learn. Sleeping is a teachable skill, as necessary and important as learning how to talk or walk. Now, you should encourage good sleeping skills by giving your baby the opportunity to self-soothe and put himself to sleep without you or other aids. This reminds me of my client Mary, who had a really sensitive soul. She couldn't handle her baby crying for like 1 second. So what she would do was rock her baby for each and every nap in her glider until he fell asleep. I mean, more power to her. That is a lot of rocking, and I don't think I could do it, but she was very, very adamant about what she wanted for her child, which I totally respect. So what I did was I gave her a gradual separation nap plan to transition him into independent sleep. Now, she puts him down awake and calm, and he goes to sleep within 10 or 15 minutes. And this transition took a matter of 3 days. Now, what I've noticed in working with hundreds of moms is that parents are either, one, constantly trying to fix sleep for their babies with either holding or pacifying, swaddling, or swinging, instead of guiding them to do it on their own. Or two, thinking that the baby will magically figure it all out. Spoiler alert, they won't. Mary made the intentional decision to teach her baby how to sleep independently, by himself. And now she has more time for herself instead of having to rock her son to sleep for an hour or so each time she wanted to put him down for a nap. Now, that is major progress, and that's sleep training success. And finally, the last shift is investing in a parenting mentor. Now, there's no manual on parenting, which is a good thing and a bad thing. It's good because you have the freedom to do whatever you want, but it's also bad because you never really know if you're doing things correctly or not. Everyone should have a parenting mentor. Mentoring brings two things: new ideas and accountability. Now, I'm sure that there are new ideas in your head right now that you probably wouldn't have had if you didn't make time to go on this webinar. A good parenting mentor will give you great ideas and make sure that you act on them. A great parenting mentor will also put together a powerful group of people, all working together for a similar goal. This multiplies everyone's effectiveness exponentially. Now, in my mastermind, we have moms just starting to determine their daily schedules, right alongside with moms whose babies are already sleeping through the night and they're just perfecting their nap training. So everyone wins. And as you know, when you first have a baby, people may come around for the first couple of weeks, but after that, you usually become fairly isolated and lonely and feel like no one really understands what you're going through, especially if you aren't really getting a lot of help from anyone else. So what's great about my mastermind community is that it's an engaging group of moms that totally understand where you're at because they've probably been there. And what you need to hear to crank up your mommy's superpowers if they're running a little low right now. The community is also there to inspire you to keep going if the going gets tough. So again, everyone wins. So today I promised how to sleep train your baby in the next few weeks, even if it seems totally ridiculous right now. I also promised you how to cultivate a happy and thriving baby that you will enjoy spending time with, where parenting feels like a joy all of the time and not just a job. Also, how to develop a peaceful and harmonious home while getting the rest you and your baby need and deserve to be your best selves. I also promised to show you how to feel secure and confident in your parenting because you have a clear plan on knowing what to do at every step of the sleep training process. And how to do all of this without your baby crying it out or needing to be picked up at every single whimper or any other extreme way of sleep training your child that just isn't sustainable or realistic for the everyday mom. So look, here's what you need to win in this sleep training battle. You need to 1. Make sure your baby adapts to the family and not the other way around. 2. Step fully into your parental role and take the lead instead of your baby doing so. 3. Use the secret weapon, limited crying approach. 4. Teach sleeping as a learned skill and not something that your baby will just figure out because it's not going to happen. And 5. Invest in a parenting mentor so that you can get great new ideas and be held accountable to make sure that you get the progress that you need to your goal. Now, these 5 shifts alone are enough to propel you to sleep training heaven. So I just taught you all of this stuff, and now you have a choice. You can either take this information that I've given you and just forget all about it. It can just be another webinar on just another day. You can get some nice ideas and just forget all about it. And if you do that, I can tell you right now, you and your baby are going to stay stuck exactly where you are. You're going to be frustrated that you can't get your baby to sleep like other moms can. You're going to be snappy at your spouse and even your baby and completely strain that relationship. You're going to be unhappy because you didn't envision parenting being like this and staying like this. You're going to feel defeated because you feel like you aren't a good enough mom to overcome this. And you may even feel hopeless because you feel like there's no end in sight, that you and your baby are going to stay stuck exactly where you are. You know why you came to this webinar. Now, if you're on this webinar, it's because your previous attempts to sleep train your child have pretty much failed. Every day is like hell because you lack the energy to get anything done that you need to get done. The house is a mess because you're feeling super overwhelmed. There are dirty dishes in the sink, piles of laundry everywhere, and maybe you're even showering every other day. Your relationship is taking hits because you don't have the special intimate time to cultivate the relationship, and everyone is snapping at each other because of the lack of sleep. And parenting is becoming more like a job and less of a joy. And it's probably the exact opposite of how you envisioned motherhood to be when you first found out that you were pregnant. Maybe even you're feeling like a mommy failure. You guys are just surviving and not thriving. And it's all because you haven't cracked the sleep training code yet. Your baby is probably fussy, cranky, not as happy as he or she can be. And we definitely need to get that all solved for you. Now, I'm hoping that within this webinar, you've realized that you need a step-by-step system so that you know exactly what to do, how to do it, and why you're doing what you're doing at every step of the sleep training journey. I'm also hoping that you realize that this isn't just important for your baby, but it's also important for you, your relationship, potentially your career, and just developing a peaceful home for years to come. And that's why you're on this webinar. Now, did I get that right? Or did I miss anything? If I got it right, and those are your sleep training challenges that you're facing, we are 100% confident that we can solve them for you. And I say this because I've helped hundreds of moms, probably even thousands at this point, get their babies sleeping through the night. And I've never had a case I wasn't able to solve. I've also spent 10 years studying infant and baby development, so I know what works and I know what doesn't work. I've seen absolutely everything under the sun. And I'm pretty sure that your case is going to be a mild one compared to the ones that I've already seen and helped. I now want to talk about a mom that I just finished working with. Her name was Erica, and I'm pretty sure that everything that you're going through is probably the exact same thing that Erica was going through. Now, her 9-month-old baby was just catnapping during the day. I mean, 20, 30-minute naps, waking up 2 to 4 times a night, and she was just exhausted and at her wit's end. So she decided to enroll in the program, and on the first day, we got her on an amazing, easy schedule and had her baby sleeping through the night. I think it was on day 4. a week after that of sleeping through the night every day, the nap started to solidify, and her baby was sleeping 2 2-hour naps during the daytime. She was telling me that now she had so much time to clean the house, to work out again and get that pre pregnancy body back. And finally, just do things for herself, like take a class online and catch up on her favorite TV shows. Now, the reason that I'm mentioning Erica is because we completely rocked it out for her. And I have no doubt that we're going to do the same for you as well, because I'm pretty sure that she's just like you. Now, I want to talk about my program, Sleep, Sanity, and Success. Now, my program is a 4-week powerful program, but like most of my other mommy clients that you've heard, you'll probably get your results within 1 to 2 weeks. So the first part of my program is that I have a video course, and this video course is going to outline everything that you need, step by step, and in the right order, so that you can get the greatest impact and get to your sleep training goals as quickly as possible. So first, we'll teach you how to get a predictable schedule, so you know exactly when to feed your baby, when to put your baby down for a nap. We're also going to teach you how to create an amazing bedtime routine so that your baby is going to sleep by him or herself within 3 to 5 minutes after putting your baby down. After that, we will obviously focus on strategically reducing and eliminating the night feedings and wakings. Now, it's part art, it's part science, and that's why we're so personalized, but we're going to give you the foundations to understand exactly how to do that. And also make sure that those transitions between where you are now and where you want to be are as seamless as possible. In the video course, we're also going to teach you how to teach your baby how to master self-soothing. Because, as humans, we wake up anywhere from 8 to 13 times a night. And it's the same for babies as well. If your baby doesn't know how to really self-soothe and put him or herself to sleep, they're never going to learn how to sleep through the night, and they're also never going to nap well as well. They'll always wake up after one sleep cycle of 30 to 40 minutes and be done with their nap. And then finally, at the end of the video course, we're going to teach you how to get amazing 1 to 2 hour naps during the day. I found that it's best to focus on the naps at the very end, just because, once your baby is sleeping all the way through the night, your baby's going to be completely brand new. And the naps that you have now are not going to be applicable to the naps that your baby's going to need in the future, because your baby's going to have much more energy. So it's best to really focus the naps at the very end. Now, that's the first part of my program, and it's really great information, but content is not enough because this is sleep training and every child is different. So the second part of my program is that you're going to have access to me and my team on our weekly group Q&A calls, and we do this because every child is different, like I was saying before. So after every new step forward, the group calls give us an opportunity to debrief, to celebrate your wins, to look at what went right, what we need to improve upon, if anything. Sometimes we may need to go to a plan B or a plan C, but that's why we have these group calls. It is a huge favorite for the moms in the program, and they just love it. Now, beyond the group call, I'm super hands-on. So I'm going to be in contact with you every 2 to 3 days to ensure that you continue getting amazing progress and get to your sleep training goals as quickly as possible. And then finally, the third and last part of the program is that I'm going to invite you into a private Facebook group with moms just like you. Now, I personally love this part of the program because you're going to immediately realize how powerful the system is once you join. Every day or every other day, there's a new mom posting about her wins, about her progress, and it's going to give you the motivation and the confidence to stay consistent and trust the system when things get rough. You're going to know that when you're consistent, you're also going to get the same progress and wins that every other mom is getting in the group. And that's why it's super powerful. So instead of me just kind of pumping up my own program, I want you to hear from moms that I just finished working with so that you can really understand kind of, how we work and what kind of results that they've gotten. First, I want to talk about my mom, Sujit, in Toronto. She has a 2-month-old son, and it's just been a week of her being in the program. And she writes, my husband and I started this program on Monday, and we found it challenging, but we had a big win last night. We put Xavier to sleep after his 7 p.m. feeding, and we were surprised that he woke up at 6:40 a.m. this morning. We're so grateful to Anwar for all of his help so far, and we'll continue to push through this exciting and rewarding program. So, as you can see, 2-month-old babies, no problem. We get this solved in less than a week. Next, we have Jessica from Los Angeles. She says, after only 11 days working with Anwar and this program, my 4-month-old is taking 2 2-hour naps a day and sleeping from 7:30 p.m. to 7 a.m. I am honestly in shock at how well this system worked and how much more sleep my baby and I are getting. I could not be happier with these results. Thank you so much, Anwar White. And then finally, I have Maya in Belgium. She says, I am happy to announce that on night 7 of sleep training, my 5-month-old daughter slept through the night, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., not a peep. She actually slept in until 7:20, and I didn't notice because I was sleeping too. I was in shock when I woke up and kept checking clocks to make sure it was the right time. She also has amazing naps that I usually have to wake her up from. I was truthfully so hesitant about this program to start and terrified. But once I gave myself 100% to the program, it worked like a charm and our little family is so much happier. Thanks, Anwar. So let's say I invite you into the program and we solve all of your sleep training problems for you where you have the perfect angel of a child and they're sleeping all the way through the night and taking 1 to 2 hour naps during the day, and your baby is just super happy, smiling all the time, and able to put themselves to sleep instead of you having to do it. And you have so much time and energy on your hands that you can work out again, you can hang out with friends, you can keep up with chores, cook elaborate dinners if you want to, you can go back to work hitting the ground running, and just feel like yourself again. And you and your husband have an amazing relationship where you guys can sleep in the same bed together, get a full night's sleep, have date nights and not worry about your baby waking up in the middle of the night. Or even just have a relaxing evening together at home. You're going to become an amazing A+ mommy because you will have passed your first big mommy test with flying colors. And you'll have the confidence of knowing that you've provided the very best for your child. Finally, I want you to have an amazing answer when people ask you that dreaded question that they usually ask new moms. How are you and the baby sleeping? I want you to say, amazing. My baby's sleeping all the way through the night, taking long, beautiful naps on a predictable schedule, independent sleeping. Now stand in that place for a second. What would that feel like for you? Now, if that sounds amazing to you, then I want to talk about how easy it is to get started. I've made it really simple and priced it in a way that everybody can afford it if they're committed. So, the regular investment for the program is just $800. But for the moms that are super committed and that are on the webinar today and, who are ready to really make it happen, I want to take a half off as a fast action discount for the group program. So the whole price today is going to be $400. Now, if it'd be easier for you, what we can do is split those up into 2 payments. So $200 now and then $200 in 4 weeks once we get everything solved for you. Now, if you'd rather do what most moms do and just put it all on a credit card and pay it in full, I can take off an additional $50, so the whole full pay amount would be $350. Click on the Click Here to Enroll button to get started. You'll want to do this sooner than later just because I only work with 20 moms at a time and I just have about 2 spots open. I'm pretty sure after this webinar they're probably going to get snatched up. So if you miss out, we'll put you on a waiting list and we'll get it all solved for you. Once your spot is confirmed, the next steps will be that you'll receive an email from someone from the Smart Kid Parenting team where you'll be able to schedule some time with us personally. And we'll get you in the private Facebook group. We'll do a one-on-one consultation so that you can really get the quick wins and really correct some of the foundational mistakes that are going on. And finally, I don't give money-back guarantees because I know that's a question for some moms. But what I want you to know is that I promise you that we will work together until we reach your sleep training goals. For me, that's never taken more than 3 weeks. That's why my program is 4 weeks long. I want you to rest assured that regardless of what happens, illnesses, regressions, anything, we still have you covered and we're still going to get you your sleep training goals. Again, so click on the button on the right-hand side that says click here to enroll to get started. Or you can go to www.smartkidparenting.com/registersleep and we'll get started right away. Now, before I get off, I just wanted to leave you with a testimonial from one of my former clients, Heidi, who demanded she be on this webinar so that she could tell you how amazing her experience was. So without further ado, here's Heidi.
Hi everybody, I'm a first-time mom. My name is Heidi, and right now it's 2:30 in the afternoon Mountain Time. My baby has been sleeping for 2 hours. Seriously. And he took an hour and a half morning nap. A month ago, this would not have been possible. He would have been on his third 20-minute nap of the day. And now all he's waking up is at 4 in the morning because he soaks through. He just gets so wet. Otherwise, I wouldn't have believed this if I didn't do it myself. I was at my wit's end. I used every swing, sling, wrap. I bought a $40 pair of pajamas because the lady said the baby would be more comfortable. I mean, everything. And I wish I would have found Anwar sooner. Seriously, he's been um, beyond incredible. My husband was not a believer at first. I said one morning, I said, well, I'm getting this call from this guy regarding, Bodhi sleeping and everything. And my husband said, as long as it doesn't cost $10,000, let's just do it. So we did. And my husband, when he got home, thought I was crazy. But he's a believer. I'm a believer. If we ever have any more, which I still don't know if that's going to be an option, I would definitely contact him again. I seriously have not one bad thing or one anything to say about it. I am just honestly amazed and so truly grateful that he does this. Seriously. So if anybody has any reservations about it, don't. Just do it. You will be amazed. Seriously. My baby's so much happier because he sleeps. I'm so much happier because we both sleep. And my husband and I get to actually have a relationship again. So I just wanted to put my 2 cents in. Thank you, Anwar, so much for this. My husband and I were so grateful. Thank you.
Heidi, I couldn't have said it better myself. To get started, everyone, click on the click here to enroll button on the right-hand side so we can just get this thing solved already. There's no reason that anybody should be suffering. Motherhood should not have to be this hard. It shouldn't be a struggle. Everyone should be thriving, and I want to ensure that you're thriving as well. Now, with that said, talk soon and sleep well. Bye now. I recently worked with a mom with a 13-and-a-half-month-old daughter who had never slept through the night. She was waking up 3 to 4 times a night. And we had one consultation, and by the second night, her daughter was sleeping through the night. Now, this is Atusa, and she actually left an amazing testimonial that I'd love to read to you right now. My name is Atusa, and I'm from San Francisco Bay Area. I highly recommend Anwar if you are having trouble with your baby's sleep. When I contacted Anwar, my daughter was 13 months old and was still waking up every 1.5 to 2 hours every night. On the second night of training, she slept through the night for 12 straight hours. I was both shocked and incredibly happy. Working with Anwar was very easy. I was initially concerned that I would have to make her cry nonstop until she passed out. Instead, Anwar suggested a much more moderate approach catered specifically toward the information I gave him about my daughter's habits. Needless to say, I'm extremely happy I did. He gave me a very clear plan and, importantly, included the reasons behind each part of the plan. What I liked most about his approach was that it was very logical and had several key principles. While sleep training can be a difficult decision to make for your baby, I fully recommend Anwar if you're ready. Knowing what approach to use, how to use it, and if it's right for your baby are all very challenging for a new parent. Anwar's approach was something I could be confident in, and he gave me all the information and support I needed to help my daughter grow. I am very thankful for Anwar, and I am positive you will be too. Like Atusa said, I am definitely not a fan of cry it out, so if that's one of your concerns, you can cut it out of your head immediately. I think it's cruel and unusual punishment. I don't do it with my own kids, and I've never recommended it for any of my mommy clients, so I don't want you to worry about that.